What'd you pour me?
A hoppy, basic.
Nice.
Pale ale / light IPA.
What'd you pour for yourself?
89.
Is that your go-to?
No, I figured color contrast, you know. Like I'm good with whatever.
Hello everybody, welcome to our third episode of Vibing, where we celebrate, support, and explore local food and beverage people.
Awesome.
Organizations, nonprofits.
Thank you for having me.
This is Jon Lane, owner of O.H.S.O. Very excited to have you and kind of learn a little bit more about your history, your story, O.H.S.O. story. I'd just love to hear kind of your background, like where'd you get started in the industry and how'd you end up here?
Sure. My first legitimately paying job was at a Burger King.
Okay.
I worked for my father previous years, you know, but mostly cash and stuff. My dad owned a banquet facility as well, so I did a little bit of there. My dad was in the golf business, ran mostly the front of the house parts of it.
And this is in Michigan, right?
This is in Michigan.
Yeah.
But as a little kid, my parents were divorced. I lived in a town pretty small, and I had the choice of either going to my house after school or going to the U&I Lounge, which was a neighborhood bar, downtown bar, owned by two Greek guys that I always thought they were yelling at me, but they were just in fact talking to me about stuff. So I've kind of been around or in this industry my whole life.
Yeah.
I've left several times to do different things, but this was always an easy way to make some fast money and also to feel comfortable in the area that I was living, because I could always figure out how to get a service job or a management job or something within the restaurant industry. So I guess I've always kind of been around the service industry.
Sure.
A lot in Arizona, a little bit in Michigan, some in Florida, Caribbean. I've traveled a bunch, but kind of worked all over in different, everything from Burger King to fine dining.
Yeah.
So I've had a little bit of everything. I've done just about every position. I'm a terrible saute cook, but I'm fine with most of the other positions.
Yeah.
In the kitchen. I'm probably terrible again.
Yeah.
And I've done every front of the house position you can think of. Everything from bouncer to area manager.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of a natural progression for me to finally grow into owning my own space.
Yeah. When did you move to Arizona?
I moved to Arizona right after I graduated high school. Well, I moved to California.
Got it.
Couldn't afford it. And then I moved to Arizona.
Yeah.
So I've been here since I graduated. I'm older, 53, so I moved here in 90.
Okay.
And boy, has Arizona grown. I have a good partner right now. He does kind of we do different things, and it works out great for us.
Yeah.
And then I have a strong team now. Obviously, with growth, you start to build a team, and we've grown from 33 employees to just over 600 currently.
Wow.
And when we're in season, it can be as much as closer to 700.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So,
I mean, as a beer drinker and as a consumer of, a guest at your restaurants and everything, you never think about how many people are, you see like 20 or 30, maybe you see the same 10 every time you go.
Yeah.
But you don't think about the fact that that's incredible.
Yeah, I believe we have about 400 full-time equivalent type when you break it down that way.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people, and I mean, some people are only here for a few months. Some people are here for several years, and I mean, on our original team, I think we still have 4 people left from our original 33 15 years ago. 14 and a half years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Almost 15. For us, that's a great thing. One thing that we try to do here is promote a positive culture.
Yeah.
I worked at places where I had to work 60, 70, 80 hours as a manager, and my manager's season, I'll say late February through early April, may have a few more hours, but outside of that, typically it's a 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
You have your life. I don't want to invade your life. I want you to have a quality of life.
I think that to me sounds like someone who grew up in the industry, who worked
every holiday, every night,
so you
weekends.
You appreciate and understand the challenges of that, and that's really cool that you push for that, you accommodate for that.
And after year one, we started offering benefits because
incredible.
I just always felt like I was kind of on the out. Like if I had to go to the doctor, I had to figure out how to pay for it. If I had to go do anything, so I just didn't. And I have my own health concerns, but it was something that I wanted to make sure that we're not the highest payer, we're not the lowest payer, we're not the best place, we're not the worst place, but hopefully we're a nice in between for everyone.
Totally. So tell me how O.H.S.O came about. I mean, you guys are almost 15 years old. Outrageous homebrewers social outpost.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that has something to do with its origin.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was a home brewer, and then I had an original partner, and he's since gone, and I have a different partner now, but he was big in the home. He was really big into the brewing idea, and just kind of everything sort of worked out. I was going to open a craft beer bar with a gentleman. That didn't work out. Ended up doing this with another guy, and it worked out, and then that guy wanted out because, in restaurants you don't just snap your fingers and money starts flying in the door. It's a process. And hopefully the process works, because if it doesn't, as many restaurants, the first 2 years, a lot of them don't make it past that. Yeah. So, but we developed this concept. We wanted to make sure that brewing was on the forefront in the restaurant. People could see it, be a part of it, enjoy it, name their beer, make their beer, do all these things that involve them. Because a lot of times when you go to breweries, it's a bunch of shiny tanks. There's one guy in behind a glass window. You see him going back and forth, but there's no conversation. There's very little interaction. It's just whatever beers they've done, they've done. Yeah. Granted, they do tours and stuff like that, so they're involving you, but in sort of a second or third hand sort of way. Yeah. We wanted to involve them as a upfront, first hand, helping, assisting. Our brewer makes sure that the beers are going to be good. He's not just letting somebody come in here and dump, I don't know, a gallon of chocolate oil into it to make it a chocolate beer, and then it doesn't turn out and taste terrible. Sure. But overall, it was to try and get people involved in the beer brewing process, and to create a space where people could learn if they wanted to, or take the picture of them brewing if they wanted to, or involve their team buildings or what have you. Yeah.
So obviously now your operation's way bigger. So are you still doing that sort of guest involvement stuff here?
We do it here. We do it at Gilbert as well.
Okay. How does that work? How does one participate?
So at this one, we release dates every other month, generally around the 1st. You can go on our website to see when the next dates are released, but we release a set amount of dates. Normally it's 2 to 4 a week, just depends on my brewer's schedule and other things. They sign up. There's a specific style that they sign up for, and then they can choose some of the adjuncts and stuff like that. They bring their group in. Generally, we ask below 8 people, but people will type in like, "Hey, I have a team building of 20." We can accommodate it.
Sure.
And then they brew their beer. So they help mill. They help do all the stuff, mash, boil. Generally, after the boil, they kind of get out of here, and we finish
it's a long process.
The cleaner parts of it. Yeah. And then, roughly 3 weeks to a month later, they set a tapping date. So it costs $50 to do it, and they get a $50 gift certificate. So it's $0 out of pocket once you get the $50 gift certificate. But that was just kind of a way to kind of check-hold people to come in, because when we first started doing it, we didn't do that.
Right.
And people would make these reservations and then just not show up.
Yeah.
So I think that they pay for something kind of makes them
100%.
feel like they're going to come in. And we do it for schools. We give it away for school auctions, and we give it away for charity functions. Yeah. So that way it can be kind of something cool that they can pass on.
Yeah. How big is the batch?
The batch is roughly 2 kegs.
Okay. The 4 barrels.
It can be a little bit. No, just 2 kegs, one barrel. So it can be 2.5. It can be 3. It just depends on what we put into it.
Yeah.
But always at least 2 kegs.
And is that whatever beer that is that something that is only for them and they're tapping? I mean, that's a lot.
So we tap it on the day that they expect. Uh-huh. So let's say they are having their tapping party on a Friday. So we tap it that morning. It'd be available starting at 11 a.m. And then they get a pitcher right when they come in. So that's
sure.
Or if there's a group of 6, they'll get a couple pitchers. But then all the rest is up to them how much they want to drink. But their beer stays on tap until it runs out.
Okay.
Some beers are on tap for a day. Some beers are on tap for a week. Generally, it's not much more than that, because
So this location has like a constant.
Yeah, this location currently probably has 20-ish beers on tap. Most of them, I should say, 3/4 of them are guest beers, or 2/3 of them are guest beers, and the other ones are what my brewer's done on it the other days.
Amazing. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. So
that's really cool.
You'll see all these funky names. We also, we had to kind of make some policies because we would get a little too political or a little too racy or a little too just not appropriate.
Controversial.
Yeah. So we tried to make up some basic rules so that way we didn't have these arguments about, or nobody thought that these were really our forethoughts on these names. But yeah, it's worked out well. I mean, we get a lot of people that still, like, to this day, they're like, God, I missed this last time. We'll get people that'll email us, hey, I know you don't release dates, but I'm trying to buy a Christmas present. I tried last year, so we might help them out.
Yeah.
We also get, the occasional wedding, retirement party, where they want to do it as well. So.
And you do this in Gilbert too.
In Gilbert, we do it a little bit different.
Okay.
In Gilbert, we do more of our higher end charity stuff. So these ones, but they're more
collabs. Like
correct. But they're with sometimes they're with just a random group, but they'll have a charitable organization to it. Sometimes there's not really a charitable organization; it's just a cause, or an awareness or something. But most of the times down there, we do one every quarter with one group that's an insurance group, and they actually bring some of their clients that are nonprofit, for-profit, but tied into other nonprofits. So we do 4 of those. We do an ALS, we do an ALS beer, we do a 988 beer for suicide awareness, suicide prevention awareness. We do an ash beer. We do normally a woman's lager or a woman's beer. This year, I believe we.
You did one at PV.
No, we did at PV this year. Yeah. So typically we're going to do that stuff at Gilbert now. Because our new brewery is more production. For like our cores that go out everywhere. But yeah, we do roughly one every month. I mean, some are a lot faster.
I think that's one of the things that at least I've noticed about O.H.S.O is you do a lot of charity, the 988 stuff, the women's brew, you're very philanthropic in your brewing. Is that something that you just you felt like you had to do, or like you felt like it was important to you?
Some of the causes are very personal. I do it. I think I do it, or one of the reasons that I do it is I grew up with both worlds. I grew up with a very poor mom that was assisted by my grandparents here and there, and I got free breakfast and all my sporting equipment was hand me down and paid for, and my mom's piece of crap car barely ran, so we always were walking and doing other things. And then I grew up with my father, who they were divorced, and my mother passed away when I was a little kid. My father started doing really well right before she passed away. So I kind of saw both ends of what money could do for your well-being. I don't think money's the answer, but I think a community support was the bigger answer. So I try to tie a little bit of both. I don't want to just go, oh, here's a $10,000 check, and I'm not going to be involved at all. So the things that we do, typically are either passions of mine or passions of our team members. And we try to, give little bits of money to the right causes for the right reasons.
I mean, I know you guys have been a huge proponent of the 988 beer. And I feel like you guys were, and correct me if I'm wrong here, historically you were one of the first breweries in Arizona to do that.
Yeah, we started it to try and get them all.
Did you start the whole?
I started the 988 beer myself. I started it with
that whole initiative that's now national.
No, I don't know it's international, but we got about 200 breweries going a couple years ago.
That's incredible.
No, I mean, this year I'm not pushing as hard. I just feel like I've asked breweries to do it and do it. And I'm still going to ask the ones that have done it, but I also don't want to put pressure on people. It's been a tough couple years for breweries.
100%.
And mostly it's just an awareness beer. You don't have to donate. There's no donation required. It's just more putting it on to start the conversation so that people can ask the questions.
Yeah.
And that's a big one. ALS, we've been working with them for I think we're on our third or fourth year. It's a passion that one of our sales guys, KL, has. I don't know exactly why, but he was the one that started with that, and he's the one that kind of has nurtured that relationship.
Yeah.
Adam, our director of operations, is the one that has been working with the insurance company that has multiple different outlets for charitable donations. It's a good friend of his, and they always come up with a good local community subset to donate to. So,
that's great.
I mean, as much as we can affect locally is what I'm more geared at. The 988, if it goes bigger, great. If it doesn't, I understand.
I mean, 200
it's a tough situation
is
too.
a lot.
You know?
That's huge. I mean,
and all over the country, everywhere from.
Yeah, and it's noticeable, right? Like right around when that beer releases, like you go to Kitsune and they got one, and you go around town and you see it. Like it's the same label, right? It's the same sort of logo, 988 logo.
Yep.
So it's noticeable. The fact that you started that, I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, and we've already had a couple people over the years. I know two that have reached out and said, hey, thank you so much. I was at X Brewery. There was one that was at, oh my gosh, it was at Chris's Brewery in, oh my gosh. Anyway, gentleman reached out and said, I was having a really bad time, and thank you. I called and took care of some things, and I'm seeing a counselor, and so
that's incredible.
Huge win.
Yeah.
Huge win.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, that makes it worth it for sure.
Yeah.
And then you're really involved with ASH. I mean, I'm a former ASH, Arizona Society of Homebrewers, for those who don't know. Former board member, so I'm super aware of how involved you are. So were you?
I used to be super involved. I'm not as much anymore, but
I mean,
I'm a lifetime member.
You still help out a lot.
we do some brewing events and some ward events and stuff like that.
We used to go to the 25 year anniversary at the Barrel Room.
At the Barrel Room
in Gilbert.
Yeah, we did the dinner there. I mean, I still, if they call me and they need something, I don't go to the meetings anymore, really. I've only been by the new clubhouse. I've never been to it.
Yeah.
So I was involved for a couple years, about the year before we started this, and then the first year that we were doing this. And then I just started getting busier and busier. And I had a little kid who's now 19. And then I had another little kid, so I've been pretty busy. But if they need something, I'm always there.
Yeah. It is not lost on them, the support that you.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it. I think Doc's really good at Pedal House. I think there's a handful of breweries that are really good about it. Some of those other ones, they didn't come up the same way. They didn't know the homebrewers. They weren't part of the homebrewers. They didn't go to the homebrew shops.
Right.
Like Scott, our head brewer. I don't even know what his title is. I'm terrible at titles. Director of production, I think, is his title. He used to work at the homebrew shop directly behind Four Peaks.
Okay.
And I worked at Four Peaks as well.
Yeah.
Years and years ago. So I've been kind of in the brewing industry. When I was a little kid, my dad owned a place in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I used to go and steal beer from him. And I used to steal this beer called Solson, which is now called Oberon.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Larry Bell got sued by Molson and Corey, I don't know. He got sued by somebody, so he had changed the name to Oberon. But I used to steal Oberon from my dad, and then I'd go over to Larry's shop, and this is when Larry didn't have a whole lot of equipment. Larry, I don't think he remembers me that young because I would ask him questions, but as I got older, he started to know me, and so it was great. And then I've run into him over the years, but now he has since retired and sold I think the whole business, but at least the majority of the business.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I know that when I first started getting into craft beer, O.H.S.O was kind of known as like a great brunch spot.
Yeah.
And you guys have definitely, I think, maybe leaned into that. That's something that you promote a lot. Great brunch food. The food, I've noticed over the last 5, 6, 7 years has gotten like better and better and better and better and better. So was there a point where you're like, all right, we got to double down on the food? I know you have your chef, Bruce. Yep. He's incredible. He did the dinner for ASH, and it was this incredible fine dining experience. So tell me about sort of how the food element of O.H.S.O has developed, since it founded 14 years ago and now.
Sure. So our original menu was very fine dining element pieces, and it was just too much. We couldn't handle it. We didn't have the production. We just, we were young. So we kind of dumbed down the menu for many years. I would say for the first, 3-4 years after that.
Yeah.
And then slowly we got, a chef that was stronger in sort of, I'll say, the production side.
Yeah.
But then a lot of chefs, when they're strong in production, aren't necessarily strong in bold flavors and stuff like that.
Sure.
So kind of went through a little pattern. We met up with a chef, Tony. He was very good. He kind of did a little bit of both. So he was good with the production. He was good with flavors. That kind of got us going in the right trajectory. When he left, we had another 2 chefs that were kind of a little bit of both, like a little bit of better trajectory, struggled with, maybe production, so on and so forth, a little bit back and forth. And then we had a guy named Junior and Mike and Bruce. Mike, very production oriented, very, bam, bam, bam. Junior, very people oriented, knows the structures, the people, the right places. And then Bruce, the culinary director, kind of knows the flavor profiles, like where we should go, what can we produce and reproduce.
Yeah.
And we've slowly kind of trimmed some items that were difficult and just didn't have the flavor profiles. And now we're actually we constantly now every 6 months review our menu and alter a few items.
Yeah.
And we started doing specials every month about a year ago.
Well, and you turned your Scottsdale location into sort of a test kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
We did that for lack of the ability to constantly change.
Yeah.
The market changes all the time.
Right.
Costs have changed dramatically in the last 3 years. So that was a big point behind that. What can we do at an efficient cost with high quality that's going to be received well by our audience, our guests? And some have been big hits and some have been big misses, but that's what you do at a test kitchen.
Yeah. So how does that work? Is the menu in that location, which is it's
totally
North
different.
Scottsdale, so it's like Frank Lloyd Wright in the 101 kind of
Yep.
area. So is the menu there changing?
So that menu
super constantly?
No. So that menu changes about every 3 months.
Okay.
And it's only a handful of items every 3 months, and then we have the specials there every month.
Okay.
So now that we have changed it over a year, it's almost been a year. It will be in August. No, September, I think. I forget.
Time is a flat circle.
I should know this. So those menus, that Frank Lloyd Wright menu will be much closer to our regular O.H.S.O menu now.
Okay.
And we'll just now continue with all the specials. So the test kitchen will be a little bit less of a test kitchen, so to say, but it will still constantly have a few different items.
Because you've developed dishes there that then have
Gone everywhere. Yep. A few of our brunch dishes,
for sure. On the
a handful
side.
of our lunch, or a handful of our appetizer and main or entree pieces.
I have one bone to pick with you.
Which item?
You got rid of the gobbler.
Oh, yeah.
That turkey burger.
Yeah.
With the pear compote. My God, I love that. I love that. That was my go-to.
So it's funny that you say that because they were working on August or September's. I don't know which one it was. And
I'm noticing those 2 months.
They talked
blur for you.
They talked about bringing back a different turkey burger, but with something similar, like a lighter, maybe I think he had like a goat cheese and something else on it.
Whatever it is.
But he so a lot of the old items, what we do also, in not necessarily recreating a 100% new item, we'll take it and we'll tweak it and see if, hey, is that going to sell better because we altered that one ingredient or moved the sauce or or changed literally the bun. It could have the bun or bread. Like we're taking one menu item that we currently have and we're turning it from a sandwich into a wrap.
Okay.
Because it just seems to.
I like that.
It seems to flow better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, it could sell way better. It could kill it off the menu for good.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We just don't know.
I'm also a huge fan that my go-to brunch is the bowl, the breakfast bowl with the spicy cola pork.
Yeah.
That, for me, it's delightful. If you're eating?
Today I had the hot pastrami, but that one's coming off the menu.
Okay.
It's going to be turned into a different pastrami sandwich, which still has a little bit of the spice to it, but it's more traditional, the one that they want to put on. More as I would say like a lunch item than whatever. But not my favorite choice, but I don't make the choices all the time. I want to make sure that it works and it fits. So I eat that a lot. I used to eat the Arizona burger a lot. I don't eat it as much anymore. It's a lot during the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And I don't eat dinner here all the time. I eat dinner here about once a week.
Sure.
I eat dinner at one of our other concepts about once a week as well. So during lunch, I'm generally trying to keep it just a hint lighter.
Yeah. Totally fair.
But I do, I come in here for brunch a lot.
Yeah.
I come in here for, I'll say like a happy hour piece. I normally try to be home by 6:30 if I can on regular weekdays because I have a little kid again. So I like to be home for her dinner. Her dinner's roughly right at 6:30, so I try to make sure that I'm there for that. And then, so I kind of am all over the place on food, but I definitely would say biscuits and gravy I get all the time because I just love our gravy. Hot chicken and biscuit because it's our gravy with hot sauce and fried chicken. I get the pastrami sandwich a lot. Our new turkey avocado club I get for lunch a lot.
Okay. I've had that too. It's good.
I like our Asian salad. And then I get all of our apps almost. Yeah. There's very few apps that I don't get.
I used to eat the Fruity Pebbles French toast.
Oh, yeah.
But I've had to I've had to choose
take that off of your
protein heavy less. No, I mean, your guys. I've always enjoyed the food here, and I think the beer has also had a journey. I think.
Yeah, our beer wasn't great when we first started. We didn't have. I hear
you had a brewer named Johann.
We did have a brewer named Johann, but here he wasn't a great brewer, but it wasn't his fault. I don't want to put that on him. We didn't have the equipment when we first started. Right. We didn't have the cleanliness. We didn't have some of the things that were very essential to brewing.
Yeah.
So, could it have been better? Certainly, but I won't say it was him. It was the fact that we didn't have our proverbial shit together.
Yeah.
So now we have better SOPs, we have better cleaning techniques, we have all these things, and not only that, we don't have just these plastic fermenters that we do here.
Right.
We have true brewing setups with enclosed and everything's functional.
I mean, the new setup at Starving Artists is
and hopefully today they're working on the second canning line.
Amazing.
So now we'll have the 2 canning lines, but hopefully that's all set up by the end of August. Yeah. And we can start. If
you had to pick a favorite beer that O.H.S.O makes, which one would it be? Because I know Andrew Bauman's favorite is Sudoku, and I got to say
I like Sudoku.
A really good beer.
I'm not a huge ginger fan, so I don't love it. I drink Boom a lot. I drink 988 a lot.
Yeah.
It's a light hoppy lager. This is my partner's favorite beer, 89 Ale. I don't know that I have a favorite. I like whenever we put out a newer IPA or a newer hazy. In can-wise, I would say either I'm going to drink predominantly 3 beers. I'm going to drink Boom Dynamite, Campy, or Bright.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 that I tend to drink of ours in can. On tap, Brett makes a new beer every week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he makes a couple new beers every week with gas and by himself. And this is the location I live closest to, is the Arcadia location. Yeah. So I'm constantly drinking a new beer from Brett.
Right.
And it's rare that he repeats them.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have beers that he does repeat them because they're so good.
Yeah.
Like his R2T2. It's a tea-based pale ale, I guess. I don't know what category it fits in, but it's very good. He does a lot of like pale ale / lighter IPAs, which I really appreciate because I don't need the 8%.
Yeah.
I like the 5.5%, 6%.
Yeah.
And I can feel like I can drink a fair amount of them and not be messed up.
Totally.
So I really appreciate what he does.
I gotta ask, before I go, I have a 20-question rapid fire thing that we do. But before we go into that, I'm a huge fan of the Ales from the Crypt series, the barrel-aged stuff. So I know that there was a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, so the brewer that handled most of it has since left. I don't think he's brewing anywhere right now. But so we didn't have a lot of backstock of barrel-aged stuff.
Right.
Because generally we have, I think, 3 recipes, maybe 4 barrel recipes that we do, and then as you adjunct them.
Barley wine, stout, porter.
Yeah, we have 2 different stout recipes. I think we have a porter recipe and a barley wine recipe. Yeah. We might have one other. So we didn't have a lot of backstock, so we weren't really, and then we had a couple barrels that kind of soured.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know, they weren't sour, but we didn't like the direction they were in, so we had to dump some. So we did Bananarchy. That came out about a month ago, I think.
Yep.
And then
Haven't tried it yet.
we have a couple that are scheduled for late fall, early spring.
Great.
So our goal is minimum of 4 a year.
Yeah.
Upwards.
You were cranking them out.
We were doing about 8.
You were a lot. Yeah.
And it was a little too much too.
I spent a lot of money.
We had a lot that were dragging.
Yeah.
And then we were saving, which was fine, but because you can save those for a very long time, but we want to kind
I
of
still have some like 16-ounce cans in my fridge.
Oh, I do too. Speaking of that, I need to empty out that fridge.
Yeah.
It's summer and it's summer and it's in my garage, so I want to make sure it doesn't explode. Last year I had some explode.
Oh no.
My fridge turned off for like a couple days.
Yikes.
Anyway, so now we're going to try and do a minimum of 4.
Yeah.
And maybe there'll be a 5th or a 6th depending on the year.
Sure.
That are barrel aged. We'll probably do a few of the core ones like Bananarchy, Morning Grind, and then the other ones just kind of depends. Hits from the Bung might be every other year.
Yeah.
Take Hero might be every other year.
Yeah.
So we'll keep those ones in rotation, but we also want to do some new ones, and we want to do I think a pretty basic, just heavy vanilla one, just to kind of go that direction.
Yeah.
Because those seem to be the ones that sell easiest and go fastest.
Well, and there are certainly breweries in Arizona that are doing great barrel stuff, but not a lot.
There's just it's a hard thing to do in the spaces that we have because
totally.
There's heavy heat. A lot of us aren't in like heavy industrial spaces,
right?
And if we are, they're still pretty tight.
Yeah.
And barrels take work.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so these are questions that I wrote, and some of them are a little nerdy, but I get the feeling that maybe you're going to be able to meet me in all.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Some of them are very basic, so we'll start with just like, what's your favorite? If you had to pick a favorite food, like maybe a favorite cuisine, favorite food.
Me?
Yeah.
If I had to pick my favorite cuisine, it would be Mexican with a lean towards seafood Mexican.
Okay. Well, the next question is Mexican or Italian, so you've answered
Mexican,
that one.
yeah, definitely.
Beer, wine, or spirits? I'm going to guess it's beer, but
I would say spirits.
Yeah? Because you do have a distillery.
I drink a lot of. No, you know what? It's still beer. I drink more beer.
Yeah.
But spirits is definitely up there. I like if I'm at home, I'd rather have 2 or 3 cocktails.
Sure.
Than 6 beers.
Yeah.
It's just easier on my
night.
That's
a transition that I've made recently too. More of like a 1 or 2 glasses of bourbon on ice.
Yeah.
As opposed to
I'll make normally
2 or 3 beers.
I'll make 1 mixed cocktail and then I'll have like a glass of bourbon or something. It's just I don't feel as full. I'm also not as when I have a beer, I drink them every 15 minutes. If I have a drink, I linger on it for half an hour, 40 minutes.
Totally. So in that case, what's your favorite spirit? Is it bourbon?
No, it's kinda. Well, what do I drink the most? I probably drink bourbon the most, but I'll go with bourbon.
Yeah. Sweet or savory on the food side?
Oh man, I love sugar. But
me too.
But when it comes to like meals, I would say more savory.
Okay.
But if I had 10 candy bars in my fridge, I'd figure out how to eat all of them.
Yeah, I've never understood the people that can open a chocolate bar and you only eat half of it.
Oh my gosh.
And then put the other half away. I'm like, how does that? I don't.
It's like, I'm only gonna have this much, and then 5 minutes later, I go back to the fridge to grab more of it.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Your favorite vacation you've ever been on?
Oh man, that's tough. I mean, I went on a spur of the moment vacation. That was it was through one of those services, like I don't know, one of those emails that you get from like some travel company. And my wife and I were sitting down, we were ready to dinner. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And I showed her this island, and I go, you want to go there? She's like, yeah. I go, click, click, and I purchased the tickets. We flew out to the Cook Islands in the middle of the Pacific.
Yeah.
And it was just the 2 of us, and it was very sedate, calm island.
Yeah.
We rented a scooter, and we just kind of hung out for a week with nothing. Nobody couldn't get a hold of us, nothing. So it was a very relaxing, probably one of my most relaxing. But I lived in the Caribbean, so I love the Caribbean anywhere down there.
That's awesome. Rain or sunshine?
Well, here it's always sunshine. So I don't really love the rain. So yeah, sunshine.
Your favorite book?
Business or pleasure?
Either, whatever.
When I was younger, one of my favorite books was a book called Confederacy of Dunces. It's just an interesting book. They were supposed to make it into a movie. Chris Farley was supposed to play the lead, then unfortunately he passed away.
Sure.
But it's just it's a funny book. It's a weird book. It's just comical. There's nothing lighthearted, dumb, simple. I used to read a lot of the mystery novels. Now I generally pretty much only read professional or business stuff.
What's your go-to for that?
I think I have it in my book bag currently is Outrageous Hospitality.
Okay.
It's a pretty good one doesn't necessarily relate 100% to what I do, but it relates to 100% of what service people should do
That's awesome.
to excel. So,
camping or resort?
10 years ago, it definitely would have been camping. Now, I think maybe I'm leaning a little towards the resort.
I'm noticing that everyone I've asked, that's been so far.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have been a resort person 10 years ago, but I think my back and I don't think I still love camping. I definitely love camping.
Yeah.
I just haven't been in a while. My kid got older, my boy. Maybe with my daughter, I'll start going camping a little bit more now that she's old enough to where I don't have to worry about her wandering off.
Totally. Beach or forest?
Beach.
Yeah, that's Jedi or Sith?
Ooh, Jedi.
Okay. I appreciate the pause though, because
That's I don't know. That's a tough one, but Jedi, I think still.
Sam or Frodo?
Ooh. I think Sam.
Yeah. Superhero you most identify with?
Wow. Superhero I most identify with.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Bauman said Ant-Man. I thought that was spot on.
Interesting. Superhero I most... God, I don't know. I've never even thought about a question like that. Superhero I most identify with. Captain Underpants. I don't know. I just watched it the other day with my daughter.
I love that.
I just watched it the other day with my daughter.
Great answer. Spirit animal.
Spirit animal, narwhal.
Okay.
The unicorn of the sea.
There you go. I love it. Go-to coffee shop order.
I am not a big coffee shop. Like normally if I go somewhere, I like that. I'm not a big coffee head.
Yeah.
But I like that Dutch Brothers carries chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Because I just put about 2 ounces of chocolate milk in a regular coffee and I'm good.
Yeah.
So
like mocha.
Yeah, kind of, but not as fake chocolatey. Just a hint of that creamy chocolate.
Yeah. Dutch Brothers does a good job with
that's
that.
what I drink at home. Yeah. I just pour like an ounce or two of it in my I do pour over coffee.
Yeah.
And so if I'm gonna get something like if I had a few cocktails and I'm tired and whatever, I'm probably gonna get a cold mocha. Okay. Just to make it fast.
Totally.
Nice mocha.
Go-to karaoke song.
Ooh, it's funny that you say that. I was just singing one the other day. I'm like, I need to sing this summer because my neighborhood bar in Michigan, where I go for the 3 weeks to 4 weeks most of the years, they have a Sunday night full band karaoke.
Oh, that's so fun. When you do karaoke with a band is so fun.
And I was leaning towards some Talking Heads songs. Okay. But I don't know that I have a go-to. I used to do at the Yucca Tap. I used to do with the bartender. We do the Grease duet. Okay. Summer Lovin'. I used to do it with Big Mary. Yeah. That was her name, the bartender's name. But I haven't done that in years, so I don't know. I haven't done karaoke in years. So.
Sounds like we got to go do karaoke.
Yeah, together, I have a terrible voice, so. Yeah.
Weirdest food you've ever tried?
Oh gosh, I've had monkey brains.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Like a scene from Indiana Jones?
More or less. I was traveling. We what else did we have? I've had all sorts of insects.
Yeah. Crickets is mine for sure.
Yeah, I've been to the Testicle Festival in Montana.
Oh, interesting.
Bull's balls.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, okay.
That's what they're called. But,
I knew that's what those were called.
Yeah,
there was a whole festival.
Oh yeah, in Montana. I think it's in. I don't know if it's in Bozeman. I forget where it was.
Yeah.
Billings, Bozeman. But yeah, there's a festival. I don't know if it's still, but this is years ago. Every year they had the Testicle Festival.
Incredible.
And they had like 50 vendors making.
It rolls off
making
the tongue,
it. Yeah.
Testicle Festival.
They had 50 vendors making it different ways and
That's
shit.
incredible.
It was funny as hell. bands, all that kind of stuff. So
I love that. Guilty pleasure food item.
anything chocolate, brownie.
Yeah.
I mean, like something gooey, fudgy. Oh, fudge.
Yeah.
My hometown is. All of northern Michigan's known for fudge. All tourist towns, pretty much. But there's one called Kilwins, which you'll find in almost every. You'll find it in Florida. You'll find it in Maine. You'll find it in. They started in Michigan, and there's one directly downtown. I don't go to that one, but that is kind of. Yeah. It's my town has it right across the street. There's one called Murdoch's, which is from my hometown that I go to.
Nice. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Superman. It's basically, have you ever had Superman?
No.
It's not very typical out here. It's more of a Midwest thing, especially it's all over Michigan. It's basically food dyed vanilla.
Okay.
It has a little hint of more sweetness than vanilla, but ever since I was a little kid. And like if my daughter knows we're going in somewhere and I don't go in, she'll come running back out. Dad, they have Superman.
Yeah.
So.
And your favorite TV show?
Man, that's all over the place. Oh gosh. I mean, historically, probably still The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But there's so many. I don't
what about
watch.
Lately?
I don't watch a lot of movies. I watch more TV shows.
Last 3 months, which one are you on right now?
I just watched Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
But I don't know. That was just a drama for me to watch. I watch a lot because I have a kid. I watch a lot of Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah. Okay.
I watch a lot of Phineas and Ferb, which she loves it, and my older kid loved it, so I think I know every episode.
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but it's, they're always doing something, building something, happy, except for the daughter who goes crazy, Candace. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's the thing I've watched the most.
How old's your daughter?
7.
I have a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
We're on a lot of Mika and Bluey.
Oh yeah.
Right now. Yeah.
Bluey's good. I mean, I don't mind Bluey.
I'll watch Bluey more than she does. She'll get distracted and go off, and I'll just be watching.
I don't mind Bluey. Yeah.
I love Bluey.
But I mean, yeah, I would say either that or Simpsons.
Love it.
So.
Cool, man. Well, look, if you want, look at the camera and give them a little pitch about O.H.S.O. Is there anything you guys are launching anytime soon, or anything you want to promote, or whatever?
No, we have our new brewery coming. O.H.S.O's we took over Helton Brewing. Brian left us great space to grow into, and we've got our 2 canning lines up, so you'll start to see more cans. Also, we're opening a new concept next door. It's going to be Mexican. We don't have all the details yet, but it's right next to O.H.S.O Arcadia. Outside of that, we are also going to be franchising. We have a partner already that has 1 location in Surprise. He's got 2 more coming, and we just completed our franchise documents. So we're going to start looking for partners over the next 6 months.
Okay.
We'll see. If it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
And that's O.H.S.O.
That's O.H.S.O. That's
Very
O.H.S.O.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you. If you guys haven't been to O.H.S.O, be sure to check them out, especially for brunch. I'm a big fan of the brunch. And they're also going to be at the brunch festival, I think.
Yeah, I believe so.
And I'm always partnering with you guys on stuff, so keep an eye out.
Cheers.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, cheers and local beers.
There we go.